Yay!
Yeah. All right, hello, Metal Maniacs. It's the Meista from Brews and Tunes. Cheers. I am absolutely thrilled today. I am chatting with the one and only Dianne van Giersbergen. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Nope,
Hopefully.
but that's
Nope.
okay.
Of course, of the solo project Dianne, and then also of Ex Libris, and then formerly of Xandria, if you're familiar with that band, symphonic metal band, great band. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you doing?
Welcome. I'm really good. I'm really good. I'm really happy to be talking to you today. I've also brought my beer. Didn't
Excellent.
open it yet.
Oh, right on.
So
What do
would
you?
this be the moment you do that?
Yes, yeah. I think you should break that open. Yeah, yeah. What are you drinking?
Yay! I actually don't like beer, so
Oh,
but I do like a really nice IPA, and this is one. I have no idea where it's from, but probably the Netherlands, as it has a Dutch title. It's
okay.
called Mooie Nel, Nel being a typically Dutch name. And
Okay.
it's called a North Sea IPA. It's hoppy and fruity. So
Excellent.
yeah,
Very
I
good.
would want to say let's give it a go, but I also already know that it's really good, so that's why I brought it.
Oh, excellent. Very good. I'm drinking a Gecko Fingers from Bewilder Brewing here in Utah. So there's a little bit of a shine there. Yeah. So this is
Good.
double IPA.
Novel IPA. Ooh.
Yeah, it's a little dangerous. I got to go slow. So, cheers. Cheers to you.
Yeah, I'm a bit ashamed because I might have I have to
That's
drink first.
Yeah, let it
See,
settle.
I
Let it
do
settle.
this quite enough. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. All right. So, of course, the exciting news that's happening in your world right now is, of course, your solo project, Dianne. And you've released two tracks so far, and this is a really interesting method that you're doing. You're actually, instead of releasing an album, which it will eventually be an album,
Eventually, yes.
Soulward Bound is the name of the working title of the album. But you're releasing a single at a time, and you've said I know on your website and in previous interviews, this may take like 5 years.
Yep.
To release it, which is an interesting approach, but very kind of cool too. Because then what I like about it is that it really focuses on each track. Each song has its own exciting release.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's what I wanted, because I've now made, of course, with Xandria, but also with my progressive metal band Ex Libris, I've made albums, and what I have come to find out is that people mostly know the first half of the album. And then the second half, not so much. But that does not mean that those aren't great songs. And it always feels like such a shame. Even when writing the songs and when putting the album together, both bands would be talking like, okay, so which ones are the good ones? Because they have to go, in the first half, and then in the second half, we'll put the maybe minor ones. And I always thought, well, that's such a shame. Why would you divide the songs up like that, for one? And also, why would people want to skip after they've listened to half of the album, while most of the time, especially with Ex Libris, it's one big story that you want to share.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, that's one of the reasons why I can divide it up. And I've been told it's called a waterfall release, which I think is a really cool name, and it explains it straight away.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons. One other reason is that I do not have a band, but of course I want to present a band. You have to hear a band, otherwise it's not symphonic metal, it's just symphonic. And I can go straight back into my opera roots.
All right.
So I needed a band, but I thought, what would be cooler than inviting all types of musicians from the genre at the start of this, people that I know, that I've toured with, I have a good relationship with and friends with. Let's invite those and see if they want to help me. Especially with After the Storm, each and every one of those musicians who joined me were friends and helped me get up when I was beaten down.
Right.
So it was wonderful to, venture back into symphonic metal, feeling all safe, with those people around me.
Right. Yeah.
And
And you surrounded
that is
yourself.
also something that you cannot do if you would bring an album out at once, having a different band for every song.
Yeah. 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 And you've surrounded yourself, thus far with some really amazing, talented musicians.
Thank you. Yeah.
Really. I mean, that I think really complement, your style of singing and your beautiful voice. I mean, I think it really fits really well together. I mean, of course, you've got, Isaac from Epica, guitar player of Epica, and he does such a wonderful job on After the Storm. And then Timo, of course, on the newest release, Unleash
the Siren.
Yeah, great guitar player. So
they both are very different in style, but that's also what I like, because then every song will have a different color, because the guitar is very important as counterpart to the vocals, because for me at least, a guitar solo must always feel like you're doing a duetto together, and where the vocal line ends, the guitar solo picks up. So it has to match somehow, and it has to challenge one another. And both of them are doing it differently, but both like spot on, I would say.
Yeah, I agree very much so. Yeah, it's and all the musicianship. I mean, yeah, you've surrounded yourself with some really amazingly talented people. Of course, Juiced. Did I say? I don't know. Pronounce it. Is that how you say his name? Juiced.
No, Joost.
Joost. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah. But his nickname is Juicy, so I totally get why you would say Juiced.
Yeah.
But to me, that just sounds really funny.
Yeah, sorry. So Youth, of course, who now, and he's going to be kind of part of the entire project, right? Because he's doing a lot of the orchestration. And for those that aren't familiar with him, and probably a lot of people are and just don't realize that, he's, of course, worked with Arjen Lucassen for years with Arion and Star One. And
I think a lot of people are familiar with his work, maybe just not with his name.
Yeah.
Because he does so many things that if you're into symphonic metal, you have heard his work. You just might not know. Recently, he's working with Epica, Powerwolf, Blind Guardian, and of course, Arion. Arjen Lucassen's project. So those are major players, and I've worked with him with Xandria, later also with Ex Libris, and for me, he is the producer that totally gets what I can do vocally, but also understands my vision, and especially now in this 5-year project, wanted to go along with that, and actually thought, hey, that's kind of cool, and I have so many ideas which we can implement, and it was with him, it's only like we can start building things, and he's never like, wouldn't go there, wouldn't do that. No, he's always motivating, and he has this great ability to, if you're stuck in a project, to have this eagle-eye vision and say, okay, well, maybe we can just go this route, and then all of a sudden, as a musician, you're totally inspired and think like, why didn't I think of that? Because he has the ability to zoom out and then zoom in again. And when you're writing music and lyrics, you're so zoomed in that sometimes it's just impossible to zoom out. And he can do that, and that's a real talent, and it's really something that a process needs. Yeah.
He's immensely talented. Yeah, I've followed him, and I really love his work. And yeah, I think the partnership that you have with him musically is really exciting. Thus far the two songs you've released, I completely adore.
I could not have done that without him. I mean, of course, a big part of what you hear is me, but definitely not all of it. There's as you say, juice is really in there.
Oh no. If I ever meet him, I'll have to apologize for butchering.
No, I think everyone calls him Juicy. That's what I said. It's even his nickname.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Nice. Okay, good. I don't feel as bad. I
think if you would translate Joost into English, you would say Jacob.
Jacob. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Nice. Very, very cool stuff. And I love for those watching, definitely you're definitely going to check out these songs, these two releases. They're fantastic, and I cannot wait for the next release. Do you have a target date for the next one? Do you
I have one in mind. Well, of course, I promised to release 2 songs a year, and that's the goal, still is. It won't be the exact same date as on which I released After the Storm. That was on the 14th of February, and it won't be on the 14th of February in 2024, but somehow around that date or soon after.
Okay.
That's the target. But you know, it's funny because people tell me, "Oh, that's so cool! You're only doing singles," and then they start thinking about it, and people, by people I mean befriended musicians, and then they come back to me and they say, "You know, that's 10 times the work of an album cycle," and yes, it is. So now I'm taking everything a step at a time, and I'm already organizing so many things for the release of the next song, and it has not even been written.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was going to ask that if you've actually written any of this yet, and yeah,
no,
you're actually going.
No. Everything is a process, starting at A, going not to B but to Z.
Right.
So no, then now I will start writing again. So first writing, but what I do have is a blueprint of all the 10 songs of what they should be about. So there are topics.
Okay.
But yeah, no music and no lyric yet for this one.
Okay,
but there is definitely an idea for the topic and also for the visualization. I know what I want to do. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was curious. That was actually my next question. I was going to ask, yeah, if you had kind of this mapped out of kind of what you want to do, and it sounds like you do. But
yes, absolutely. What you need. I'm not a writer. But what I know is that if you want to tell a story, you already have to know its ending. And what you fill in are the parts in between. But you already have to know how it ends, otherwise you cannot make a build up. Yeah. And that's also what I'm doing here. I know the topics, but the way I am going to tell them, that's also for me, that's a surprise. For example, with Unleash the Siren, I did not yet know how to I did not know that the demon would be a demon. And when the songs started to take form, and we needed a different thing for the bridge, then I came up with a vocal bridge, and it totally felt like this has to be this indoctrination scene. And what would do that? An evil spirit would do that. And how can we visualize that? And it's funny because then during the process of writing music, I already have this visual. Oh, that's a difficult word. Visualizations of what it should look like in the video, and that's exactly how we filmed it. And that then helps again with the way we write our music.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's what I now also have in mind for the next song.
Nice. Yeah, that's one thing I've always really loved about your music is your approach to it, and the visual approach. Like, you have a very theatrical way that you approach music and perform too. Like, yeah, I mean, I've been lucky enough to see you perform live, and yeah, you have a very theatrical presence. Yeah, in fact, I don't know if you can see from your vantage point, but if you look, I guess it'd be on your right, my left, right up there on the wall is a picture of me with you.
I can see it.
2017, yeah, and right below it is, so in the picture I'm holding the song list, and I have that right below it. So yeah, that was 2017 at the Metro in Salt Lake City.
Wow.
So yeah, a long time ago.
That's cool. That's cool. Did I sign it?
Yes. Yeah, you signed it.
Good.
I think the entire band signed it. Yeah. Yeah. It was funny too, because I was right up front. My wife and I were right up front, and I can't remember if it was you or if it was Steve, the bass player at the time. Yeah. I think one of you was handing me the lyric or the song list, and a woman came up and grabbed it out of my hand, and her boyfriend grabbed it from her and gave it back to me.
No, really?
Yeah, wow. That was pretty funny. Okay. But anyway, sorry, I digress. But yeah, I thought, seeing you live, you have a very, very theatrical, for lack of a better term, presence on stage. Like, you perform, which is it's really mesmerizing. It's great.
Well, thank you.
And it really,
I think partly vocally. That's because of my education. I studied classical music, and in that, of course, you have opera training, and that goes hand in hand with my with I feel that if you're making music, especially when you're given the option to sing a lyric, then it should never be you just singing the lyric, because anyone can do that. If you're not a singer but you are performing, then you should be able to tell the story as if these are your words that just pop in your head, and you have to speak out, sing out, scream out, whatever, as if they are yours. Otherwise, if you yourself don't believe it, how can you convince an audience?
Yeah, exactly.
And on stage, nothing is a little. You're never a little scared. You're never a little afraid or a little sad. It has to be huge. It has to be big gestures, because people all the way in the back also have to be convinced.
Right.
That's the last thing is really something that they teach me in school, and it's something that I use to the day. If you're in music and on stage, if you're afraid, be afraid. It's never a little.
Yeah, that's a good
one. Yeah, that shows, especially in my videos. I always find it funny to see the comments below that people say, those eyes. And I see it too. I don't, when we're shooting, I don't notice that I'm doing that. But then when I look angry in the shot, the eyes go open and everyone's like, damn.
you have such a presence. It's I love it. I think it's great. I think and it really enhances the music too. I think that visual aspect of it. I think you do it well. I mean, there's so many bad videos out there, and you obviously put a lot of thought into your presentation, how you present yourself, and also how the visuals of the music and how it fits together. I think that's really enhances the experience in a lot of ways. I think it's great.
Thank you for picking up on that. That really means something to me, just because yes, I think about everything. I might even overthink things. and because, for example, there are little things hidden in the lyrics that nobody will maybe ever know, but for me they just have to be there because they complete the story that I want to share. And stuff like that. They're always Easter eggs.
Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and read through some of the lyrics again. And
you might
do some more searching. Yeah, I'm sure I'm missing some elements for sure. Yeah, and that's one thing I thought was when you back in February when you released After the Storm. I mean, yeah, what a powerful song, especially if if for those that are familiar with your story and your life. I mean, you came from a very toxic, for lack of a better term, you came from a toxic situation with Xandria towards the end of Xandria. So,
we must say that towards the end it became toxic.
Yeah. And, but I thought, you've taken that, that pain and that anger and expressed it in such a brilliant way through music.
Thank you.
And kind of, and it's very inspiring. I think it's, I think for anybody, even if it's, whether they know the story or not, I think it's a very inspiring song about coming out after.
Because what is very important is that I'm singing about my storm, and whether you know what the storm was about or you don't, that really does not matter that much anymore. What is important is that people can relate to what I'm singing about, because everyone, be it minor, be it major, has a storm in their lives that they have to get past or get through even. And then after the storm has passed comes this mental storm that I'm singing about in Unleash the Siren, in which you repeat everything, and well, this is very recognizable. Everyone thinks like, did I handle that right? Oh, I should have said this. But why do I think of it now? That is what Unleash the Siren is about. But I want to create songs, especially lyrics, that are relatable. So yes, it's about me. It's about what I've gone through and how I've gotten through that. But everyone who hears it has to think it's about them. that's much more important, because that's how you engage. I'm not here to tell a sad story and to draw the attention to how miserable things have been for me, because I don't want my music to be a diary. I also don't like it when people do that, for example, on Facebook. I hate those look at me posts. And no, I want to be honest. That's why I make my leaving statement. But honest for me is a different thing than, well, the diary post. Let me keep it like that, because otherwise I might I might say some harsh things.
But yeah, I think I agree with you, and I think, and one thing that I love so much about the new music, these 2 tracks, is it's the fact that it's about overcoming diversity, overcoming a bad situation, or overcoming that and coming out stronger, which I think is really a lovely sentiment. I think it's really cool, and like you said, everybody can relate to that in some way. So I think it's it's very
absolutely, and I hope that it will also inspire. That's also what I read in the comments below, that people who are not there yet, that my songs help them get there, get there, or have hopes for getting there, and fighting through a difficult situation.
I think that's wonderful. That's brilliant. To change gears a little bit, I wanted to ask you, and you mentioned, you're classically trained soprano singer, and I know from past interviews I've read and seen, I know you started at a very young age. I believe like 4 years old, right, is when you started singing lessons. Is that?
Yes, I actually gotten my first singing lesson when I turned 4. So for my 4th birthday, that was the earliest that I was allowed to go to a vocal teacher, and that was the best birthday present that I've ever received. Wow. I mean, my parents picked up on me reacting to music even before that. I was sitting in the crib. I don't know if it's called like that. In a pantry, I think. No, is it called pantry in English? What is it?
Crib. Yeah, crib. Yeah.
Crib. Yeah, pantry is like where you store food, right?
Right. Yeah.
I wasn't sitting there. No, what I mean, these larger crib for when you're a toddler, not a baby anymore. But anyway, I was there in a playpan. I think it's
playpan.
Like
yeah, okay. Playpan.
Yes. So pantry, playpan. That wasn't it. That was what I was looking for. See, I'm not into that. Anyways, and when they had on the radio, they noticed that I reacted to music like really strongly. Also, when they put music on, my mother is a fan of classical music, and my father is a huge fan of the older progressive rock bands.
Oh, okay, cool.
Deep Purple, for example. And I reacted to both. That's why I'm now in the crossover that I am. But they noticed that I had this kind of enjoyment for music on such an early age, and them not ever having the option to learn an instrument made them decide to give me musical education at such a young age. And singing was the only thing available in the village, but it turned out to be a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
And I've had singing lessons ever since. I stopped after I did the masters at the conservatory, and then I was like, okay, now I'm at a certain level. And afterwards I widened the horizon, but I think that the level was, you can always make little steps, but I was really happy with the level I was at. And that's also the point that I started touring with Xandria and learning by being on the road, which is a totally new experience, but also a very, very interesting experience, because it really teaches you different things that you cannot learn out of a school book or in a classroom.
Right. Do you remember the point when did heavy metal come into play for you? When did, because you're obviously, you're learning classical music in school, and you're probably very
well before that. Before I joined I did the audition for the conservatory. Before that, I think the first bands I listened to were Nirvana, Green Day, Korn, bands like that. But the first symphonic metal band I heard, and here comes the classic tale, was Nightwish.
Oh, okay.
And for me, this was this moment. I was like, okay, what's this? This is just pure brilliance. And I fell in love with symphonic metal, especially with symphonic metal with the classical voice. And I mean, Xandria and Nightwish, that's just gold, that combination for me.
Yeah.
I love that. And I bought those albums before I heard them. And normally I would spin an album before. You know, way back when you used to go to a record store, you'd put the headphones on and listen what it sounded like, and then make the decision if you wanted to buy it.
Right.
So, I mean, the younger generation cannot even imagine that. Because now you can stream everything. But then when what was it? The cover with the woman in front who sits like this.
Oh, I know
it's not Ocean Born. It's the one. It's the one where Phantom of the Opera is on.
Yeah, I can't think of the name of that either.
No, what's the title? But anyway, that album. I remember just walking in the store on the day that was released and thinking, yes, it's mine. And that was just it. You know, I didn't need any other thing to convince me. No, so Nightwish definitely was my first love in symphonic metal. Yeah.
Did that, you know, after listening to that, listening to Nightwish, did you decide then, like, I want to do this? I need to do something like this. Was it?
Well, I was just telling you that my mother is into classical music and my father is into prog rock. And for me, listening to that, it somehow clicked. And for me, it was like, oh, this is me. This is my two worlds coming together, and I can do this as well. Because it's a very classical approach, not only in singing, also in songwriting, arrangement-wise, orchestration, especially the later work. And for me, it was such a... it was just logic, you know. I heard this and I was like, I found my musical home. So yeah, there was just no other way than to start doing that as well. I also many people must think that now by watching this interview, and I also have these comments underneath my posts of people saying, "Oh, this is a Nightwish copy." And for me, that's not an insult at all. I'm like, well, might not be a copy, because that's saying that every composer sounds like Mozart, which they don't.
Yeah.
But you have to have enough knowledge to divide the two, or three, or four, or whatever. But I don't see that as an insult, because yes, it's the symphonic metal style with an opera singer. That's just it. That's it.
Yeah, and it's such and it's funny, you know, it's weird that people would be, you know, try to insult or have an issue with that, because there aren't that many, you know, really symphonic metal bands with opera singers. I mean, it's far and few between. I mean,
well, there are many symphonic metal bands with a singer who makes a classical approach vocally, but that, at least to me, is something completely different than having a classically trained singer.
Yeah.
I don't know how to how can I make this paint a picture, or maybe by using a picture. It's you know, making a beautiful color plate is not the same as having a Rembrandt, because there are so much more layers and techniques and depth and colors and shades and everything if you master the art.
Yeah,
and I think I can be so free to say that classical singing is definitely an art.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. High art,
I mean,
I would say. Yeah.
It's been here for thousands of years. Classical singing is way older than popular vocal techniques. So yeah, it's and I love that people are picking up on that, on the difference between just making the color or actually understanding what the classical voice is all about. Yeah.
And I love the combination. It's it's just so unique. This classically operatic voice with really heavy, powerful metal.
Yeah, I love it too. I love it too. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing that.
yeah, it's brilliant. It's really brilliant. It's fun. And even my parents who are in their 70s, one day they were giving me a hard time about listening to metal, and it's like, oh, it's just all that screaming, and I'm like, here, listen to this. So I played Theater of Dimensions for them. The song, and they were blown away. They're like, wow, her voice is beautiful. I'm like, see, it's not all screaming.
So, no, I don't like screaming. I don't do
I listen to a lot of screaming
stuff. But that's not recorded.
Nice. Well, Dianne, I know you have another interview coming up, so I don't want to keep you too long. But I do have one last question for you. So, my page is Brews and Tunes. I pair, craft beer with heavy metal music. And so I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. If you were to do a pairing, say tonight, Friday night, if you're drinking a beer, and listening to an album, what beer and what album what are you spinning?
Oh my God. Okay.
Sorry, I should have prepped you for this.
No, I do like a challenge, but I have to, because I see the label of the beer that I want to name, but I have to now come up with what it's called. Because we have some lovely IPAs here in the local store. But what are those names? I always buy the black label with the naked lady on it, that one. And the one, I think the one with there's one with a goose, and it's called Goose IPA. So that is that a very familiar?
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. That sounds familiar. And I'm trying to think of I can't think either of anything. So my wife and I were actually in the Netherlands in January, and I did drink quite a few beers while I was there, and some really great Dutch beers. And there's one, I think,
it's called Goose Islands. That's
it. Goose Island. Okay, yeah.
And I think it has like this blue greenish cover, and anyway a goose on there. And I've had it from the tap as well, and it was brilliant. That's even better, of course.
Yeah.
Because somehow, if you drink, I don't know how to. Yeah, I do know how to drink a beer from the tap, but I don't like it that much. But for me, drinking an IPA from the tap, it has this kind of richness. It gives you the opportunity to taste more layers than when it comes from a bottle or from a can. So maybe that is a good comparison, because I had the Goose Island, Goose Islands IPA from the tap. So I want the kind of layered taste, and then, wow, having a layered music. What does come to mind? Can I now plug my own songs?
Of course.
Well, we've talked about them already, so maybe I want to make a quick diversion. So if you're looking for layered music, then I also have a progressive metal band, Ex Libris, and our latest album is from 2019, and it's called Anne. And in it, we're telling the historic tale of 3 women through history, all called Anne. So we have Anne Boleyn, which is from the 1500s. She died in 1536, if I'm correct. I think I am.
That sounds right.
Yeah, and then we have Anastasia Romanova, who was the daughter of the last Tsar of Russia, and with their deaths, the Tsar dynasty ended. So that's very interesting history right there.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Anne Frank. So if we're talking layers in beers as well as in music, then that would be an album for you to check out.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. And for those who have not, the Anne trilogy is amazing. It's fantastic. Yeah. What a cool concept. Yeah, I thought.
Well, and talking about theatrical approach, in those 3 chapters that together form the trilogy, of course, the album, I really dive into the characters, including their death scenes. So
yeah, very
look
cool
it up.
stuff. Yeah, it's great. It's amazing. Yeah, fantastic stuff. Yeah, thank you. I love it. I think that's a great pairing. I couldn't have come up with a better one. That's fantastic. Well, Dianne, thank you so very much for chatting with me this evening. This has been a pleasure and an honor, really. For those of you watching, please look in the description below. There are links to the Dianne page, the Facebook and the website. Also, and we didn't even get into this. You also make jewelry, really cool jewelry, and you're wearing some right now. And yeah, like really cool stuff, especially because you make it out of, you repurpose a lot of like bass
musical
strings.
materials. So these, for example, are bass guitar strings, and I've made them into earrings. And I'm also wearing a bracelet made with guitar strings, but I also repurpose cymbals.
I've seen the lightning. The lightning bolts.
Those are very popular.
And those are cymbals. And it was from was that Power?
I have them from Epica. I have them from
okay, that's right.
as well. Roel van Helden, who does the drums on Unleash the Siren, he now also donated one of his cymbals. So I have many bands from all over the world gathering up their old materials and then donating them to me.
Nice. And you'll even do custom work, right? Like
if I have the time. Okay. So now, for example, I have people asking and I simply have to say no, because I have so many orders and I'm so busy already diving into the next song and still doing, well, like we're talking right now, the promotion for Unleash the Siren.
Yeah.
So
cool.
At this moment, I don't do customs, but normally I would. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that also is in the link below. Check out precious metal jewelry.
Because I have still a lot of designs up there. It's not only customs. I have a general collection that is up for sale. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I love the. In fact, I need to buy it. The necklace with the butterfly with the skull. That is brilliant. I think that's incredible.
Thanks. Yeah, and the good thing is that if you look at the product page, you can always listen to the band that donated the material. So you can listen to what the necklace you are going to buy or would like to buy has sounded like. And I think, even though it's my own idea, I think it's brilliant.
It's really cool. That's a really cool, very unique, very
it's a full cycle, you know. It's also a way to continue a story, because it doesn't have to end when those strings are taken off the instrument and usually thrown in the trash bin. It doesn't have to end there. Yeah,
I love it. And the fact that like somebody can own a piece of history, a piece of that band. Like literally. You know, somebody, one of your guitar heroes or bass heroes, like you're wearing something they played. I mean, that's a really cool idea.
It's a way to actually touch music, and that's something that is really hard to do otherwise.
Very tangible. That's cool. I love it.
That was the word I was looking for.
That's really cool. That's amazing. Well, again, thank you so very much. Cheers.
You're welcome.
For everybody watching, please check out Dianne. What an amazing solo project. And I cannot wait for more. So thank you so much.
Me neither. Thanks for watching.
Oops.